And we're talking about the net neutrality's over officially today. So here's from Forbes. Net neutrality rules end today, but service and the fight won't change right away. So here's what it means according to Forbes. Under net neutrality, internet service providers, ISPs, treated all the data the same. So everything traveled at the same speed. But now, with net neutrality repealed, ISPs can block or slow down websites. ISPs can also charge more to view selected sites. ISPs, again, are the people who bring you they're your cable company, your internet company. ISPs must notify the public directly or through the FCC when they block or slow down sites or charge higher fees. They must notify. Must notify the FCC. And you know there's a person at the FCC just waiting for those notifications. Where are those notifications of them throttling people? We're going to immediately snap into action and do nothing.
But we know.
But we know about it.
It's just a letter you get in the mail, and it's just a higher bill with like an imprint of a middle finger. That's your notification.
So back to the Forbes article. As planned, a set of 2015 open internet protections known as net neutrality rules has now expired, causing reaction across the web. By the way, so that was the open protection. That was the rules that Barack Obama instituted in under his administration.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it was a big debate on whether Barack Obama was going to come down on the side of net neutrality or not. Remember, we were like this, and then he finally did the right thing at the last moment.
He did the right thing at the last moment because the public twisted Tom Wheeler's arm and his into doing so. I mean, Tom Wheeler was a cable lobbyist. He didn't want to give the Title II protections, but the public demanded it, and they were too loud to ignore.
So, why did those protections expire? It says net neutrality rules have now expired. Why? Were they set to expire, or was that because Ajit Pai and the FCC has new rules that make those rules expire?
Yeah, it's because they repealed it.
Oh, okay. All right. According to internet experts, however, the impacts of this change won't be felt by consumers nor affect the battle for digital rights and control for at least a while longer. In a statement last month, Chairman of the FCC, Ajit Pai, commented, quote, now on June 11th, these unnecessary and harmful internet regulations.
Protections.
Barack Obama gave us Ajit Pai, just so you know. Will be repealed and the bipartisan light touch approach that served the online world well for nearly 20 years will be restored. Again, so that's gaslighting. That's tricking you into not knowing what's actually happening. That's a guy trying to trick you. He's doing it. That whole thing of the light touch approach that we used for 20 years to the internet, what Barack Obama did was codify that light touch, meaning and put it into laws saying, oh, you can't, you have to have net neutrality, which is the light touch everyone wants except internet providers because they want to be able to charge you more money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the internet operated under net neutrality rules that just were not cemented for years and years and years. And then finally, when the ISPs, internet service providers, took it to court, they won because we didn't have Title II protections.
Right.
But the FCC did the right thing.
And then gave us Title II.
Them. Yeah.
So what Title II protection was, so that's what Barack Obama did. He made the internet a utility.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that Title II protection means.
Yes.
Okay. So thousands of small and large businesses, public figures, popular websites, and public advocacy organizations have also argued that without protections. So here, again, I would have to say to Gary Kasparov that here's a complete will of the people being overruled. Where's my judge in Hawaii that's going to say no to Ajit Pai? Where's my judge going to say no? Remember that was his big example? That Trump can have a new regulation, but then a judge in Hawaii can go, nah. Well, then there's no problem with Trump then, right? I guess we have a judge in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
All problems are taken care of by
83% of Americans favor net neutrality.
83% of Americans favor net neutrality, and we ain't getting it because we don't live in a democracy. But those people at the Freedom Forum will have you think that America's leading the world in democracy.
Well, we can wear hats, though.
We can wear any kind of hat we want.
We have hats.
So everybody in the world is against this, yet we're still getting it. That's what this paragraph tells you. So they're saying that the next generation of online businesses and services won't be able to survive. This is true. Right now, people are saying, hey, because YouTube's doing all this dumb fuckery, screwing over their own content providers like independent news people, because they want you to watch mainstream news because it's easier to advertise on. That's what it's all about, money. And so they're doing the modern day version of censorship, which is the corporate state, which is, as Chris Hedges talks about, we're living in an inverted totalitarian state where we don't have a demagogue as our ruler. We have the nameless, faceless corporate state. And right now, the corporate state, as Julian Assange predicted in 2010, would be the new censor. And so that's what's happening. And so let's say someone said, well, YouTube's been too restrictive, and this is a free country, so we're going to go start our own new YouTube. And we're going to get investors and have a couple $1 million of investment and start our own new YouTube. Well, if that worked, if it became successful, what would happen is then YouTube, which is owned by Google, would come to us and say, here's $1 billion. We'd like to buy your company. And we would go, thank you for the $1 billion. You have our company. Facebook spent $19 billion on WhatsApp. They own Instagram. So so there is no more competition, and that's why you're supposed to have someone like Teddy Roosevelt come along and bust up these big trusts, these big companies. Facebook should be taken apart. They should not be able to own Instagram or WhatsApp or all that. These companies should all be split up. Google shouldn't be allowed to own YouTube. What do you think about that?
When we traveled to Europe, it was disconcerting seeing the same businesses that we see here in Europe. And it was like, wow. So it's like any corporation can go anywhere and have a corner on the market. Right. Just people can't go anywhere.
Capital can go across borders. People can't. So...
And you know what? Honestly, when you talk about Facebook and Instagram, and a lot of people don't know it, that everything that you post on Instagram is now Instagram's property.
Top property owned by...
And so, it is nefarious that there's this monopoly on these social networks.
It is.
And it's scary, especially when Mark wants to run for president.
Mark Zuckerberg?
Come on.
Well, we're mixing stories a little bit because this is a little bit different than that, but yes... I'm just pointing out how it's all rigged against you and how the corporations now own our government. The people don't want this. Who wants this? A handful of corporations. And that's what you're just going to have to take it. No one in the country wants this. How is this happening? At present, however, most experts don't expect consumers or net neutrality advocates to see their day-to-day lives changing right away. Legal battles over such protections are ongoing at both the federal and state levels, and ISPs are likely still waiting for all the chips to fall before making noticeable internal changes. Okay, well, I don't see any, the Democrats are in bed with the same people. Just letting you know. The reason why this is happening is because the Democrats are in bed with the same people. And I don't hear the Democrats screaming about this. Do you? Do you hear about it?
Well, they're saying something, but that's because we have some unlikely bedfellows here. I mean, you mentioned Google, and a lot of them favor net neutrality. Do they favor net neutrality because of the reasons that citizens do? No, they favor net neutrality because it benefits their current business model.
Right.
If we lose net neutrality, they'll just open their pocketbooks a little bit more and be fine. They don't want to do it, but that's what would happen at the end of the day. What it means for everybody else... say that YouTube competitor comes along, they don't have a chance in hell because they're not going to be able to pay to have their videos load fast enough. Mm-hmm.
Right. So not only will YouTube then absorb the new YouTube, but what they can do, and you either pay it or you go out of business. And so that's where, this is what they're talking about. It's going to crush small business with this. Okay, the next generation of online businesses and services won't be able to survive.
Mm-hmm. So this one will be fine.
Yeah,
they might have to open their checkbook a little more, which they don't want to do, but they'll still be fine. It's going to crush everybody else.
So this is what, neoliberals love to talk about innovation and innovators. This stifles innovation and innovators. That's what this does, getting rid of net neutrality protections. guarantees that we will, just like I said before when Barack Obama failed to prosecute torturers, and I made the case that the reason why you prosecute someone is you deter that crime happens again in the future, and the fact that Barack Obama hasn't prosecuted torturers ensures it will happen again. Well, we just installed a torturer as the head of our CIA. Of course it's happening. A bona fide torturer. So it's the same thing. I can't believe that 83% of the people don't want this and it's still happening. And you're not going to turn on the TV today and they're not going to scream about it for the whole hour. Every news show should be screaming about this. I'm sure Rachel Maddow will do another neutral segment about net neutrality.
If that. Why? Because MSNBC is owned by Comcast.
Which wants to get rid of net neutrality.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It's almost like they're not news organizations at all. It's almost like they're PR wings for the corporations that own them.
Almost like that.
It's almost like that. When I say almost, I mean exactly like that.
I mean, definitionally, that is what they are.
That's what I mean. That's what we mean. Our next live Jimmy Dore show is July 1st in Portland, Oregon, and July 15th in Chicago, Illinois. We're doing a live show July 15th in Chicago, Illinois. Go to a link right there for all the tickets to all the live Jimmy Dore shows. Plus, if you can help become a premium member, we give you hours of bonus material every week. Become a patron or a premium member. And if you're on Steam It, we're steaming it right now. Plus, every Saturday, we do a live Super Solid Chat Saturday where it's a live stream and you can ask us questions and we'll answer them back. Every Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks for your support.